Hello, everyone. Wow, we got a chatty bunch today. Very happy to be here. I'm happy to be here. I'd like to say hi to everyone everywhere. And welcome to Unity of New Westminster. I'm Sharon Blackwell, and I am your platform host today. Please stand and join with us as we sing our opening song, God in Every Place. It's in place, too.
We come together to behold the power of love, the power of light. We come together to behold we are divine. Lift up our hands, lift up our hearts, oh, lift up our vision, lift it to the stars, dance in the glory, whirl in the grace, see God in every face, see God in every face. We come together to behold the power of love, the power of light. We come together to behold we are divine. Lift up our hands, lift up our hearts, oh, lift up our vision, lift it to the stars, dance in the glory, whirl in the grace, see God in every face, see God in every face. We come together to behold the power of love, power of light. We come together to behold we are divine. Lift up our hands, lift up our hearts, oh, lift up our vision, lift it to the stars, dance in the glory, whirl in the grace, see God in every face, see God in every face, see God in every face, see God in every face. Hey!
Wow. We saw a lot of God in here, for sure. Welcome again, everyone. And I'd like to especially welcome the online people joining us today. We'd love to stay connected with you. We do have a YouTube channel subscription. Just click on that. And a good like doesn't hurt. And we do have a website. Subscribe to our email newsletter. And if you'd like to be informed of all the events and other things going on in this facility. And for those who are here in person, thank you and a very warm welcome. If there are any newcomers, just bear in mind all of us have been newcomers. And we hope that you enjoy our service today. And if you'd like to be added to our weekly email list, please put your information in the offering basket, which will come around later. And anyway, we'd love to keep contact with you. Unity Movement offers empowering ideas of full, abundant living. We draw upon the teachings of Jesus, who we consider our primary wayshower and example. And we honor that there is universal wisdom and faith traditions all over the planet. We respect every person's right to choose their own life path and spiritual path. All are welcome here. All are worthy here, and all are celebrated here. So let's begin our service with an affirmative prayer. We acknowledge with gratitude that we are on the traditional and ancestral territory of the Kakite First Nation. And we give thanks for First Nations people everywhere for their custody of this beautiful land on which we live, we work, and we pray. We are grateful to be together today in our community of joy, to sing together, to laugh together, and be inspired by ideas of wholehearted living, and to connect and love one another. Many names and paths lead to the one presence and one power we call God. This power is creating, attracting, and a unifying force of love energy and surrounds us, which lies within us, which expresses as us and through us, which we live and move and have our being. In this energy, and as this energy, we are all one. And from this oneness, we send a message of unconditional love, peace, and abundant joy to all beings everywhere. We are so grateful, and so it is. Amen. I will now read from the Daily Word. Today is September 3rd. Title, Honoring the Divine Presence Within. I am refreshed. Stretching and yawning after a good sleep, enjoying a brisk walk in the early morning, or sipping a refreshing drink after a workout or time in the sun, I feel refreshed. I move toward time in the sun. I feel refreshed. I move into my next activity with a renewed feeling of well-being. Building upon and refreshing my knowledge may relieve me and from thinking too much about my obligations. Spending time with a good book or revisiting a favorite passage from my favorite writing can give me a relaxing mental pause. I find many opportunities to refresh my awareness that God, the divine, is within me wherever I am. Whatever I'm doing, it takes only a moment to find God's presence reflected in the people and animals I encounter, and in the natural beauty that surrounds me. Romans 15:32 says, "So that by God's will may I come to you with joy and be refreshed in your company." Thank you. I'm just seeing if I have anything else to read before we go. Okay, I get to welcome Pixie, and I've known Pixie for many years, along with Reverend Charlene. We did many things. Anyway, Pixie Hive has been enthralled with the natural world since she was a very small child. This ignited a passion for science and launched her into the path of spiritual growth. Pixie has been involved in Unity since 1990, serving on boards of directors of Unity of Ottawa, Unity in Action, and Unity of White Rock, where she served on the spiritual leadership team. Pixie is committed to social justice and deep ecology. After working for several years as a biologist, she studied law. And that's where I figured she was. I didn't realize the rest of it. And has practiced environmental and indigenous law for over 35 years. Pixie is also a mother, musician, organic gardener, beekeeper, and Reiki practitioner. Please welcome Pixie who will lead us in a meditation immediately after our next song, Blessing to the World. Let's please welcome Pixie.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am and all I do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am and all I do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am and all I do is a blessing to the world. I'm a blessing to the world. I'm a blessing to the world.
Well, good morning, everyone. What an absolute pleasure it is to be here today. And at this time, I invite you to relax, feel supported by your chair, and get ready for a magical journey. So, you can begin by breathing. Take a deep breath in and out. And again, in and out. And when you feel ready, you can close your eyes or simply gaze downward if you don't want to close your eyes, and focus on your breath. As you feel any tension or stress, leave your body completely. And if you have anything on your lap or something that's uncomfortable on you, you can adjust it now so that you can go deep, deep, deep within. So as you continue to breathe, let your head and your neck soften. Let all those muscles soften. And let any stress or tension just flow freely down your arms and out through your fingertips. The earth will use it for making something wonderful. Feel your chest and your shoulders soften, and any tension flow out on your breath. And as you continue to breathe, feel your belly and your hips soften and relax, and any tension or stress flow down through your legs and out into Mother Earth through the bottoms of your feet. The earth will convert that energy into something marvelous. Allow any tension or stress in your legs, knees, or ankles also drain away through the bottoms of your feet. Stay with your breath and imagine walking beside the ocean on a warm summer's day. Dipping your feet into the water, you find the water warm and inviting. So you walk in. In the distance, you notice a pod of orcas playfully leaping in and out of the water. You wade a little bit deeper into the water, and feeling the warm ocean on your skin, you allow yourself to simply relax and float easily in the water. Feeling relaxed in the pleasantly warm water, you gently submerge your whole body under the water and discover how easily and effortlessly you can breathe and float in this calming place, and how gracefully you are gliding underwater, popping up every few moments to see other orcas around you, greeting you and inviting you to play, greeting you in orca language. You join them in cavorting through the waves, splashing freely in this nurturing environment. You are calm. You are centered and exhilarated as you feel what it is like to be an orca, communicating playfully with other orcas in the wonderfully warm ocean water. You find yourself delightfully riding a huge wave and looking up toward the sky. You notice an eagle flying way far overhead. As you breach out of the water with the other orcas, you gently begin to take flight, noticing how easily you can float on currents of warm air, breathing gently. With utter freedom and delight, you glide over treetops, over streams and fields. You notice how tiny everything looks from way up there on your new vantage point. What a feeling it is to be an eagle. You stop for a rest atop a huge evergreen tree next to the beach and notice some children playing in the water and other children playing in the sand. Feeling a strong sense of belonging and connection with these children, you swoop down from the tree and land on a large rock next to the sand. Settling on the rock, you stretch your arms out as the children run toward you to greet you. And together, you enter into the silence. Standing up, you feel your human body again. The same feelings of freedom, delight, and connection fill your entire being. You now know on a deep level that you really are one with all living things and one with the divine. And keep this knowing with you as you slowly return to this room, wiggling your hands and maybe your toes. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes. But don't lose that feeling of connection with all living things, for that we all know is the truth of our being.
I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am and all I do is a blessing to the world. I'm a blessing to the world. I'm a blessing to the world.
Well, good morning, friends, again. And let that meditative state continue, because we're going to begin with a visualization exercise. You can abandon yourself to your imagination and gently close your eyes. I want you to do some deep imagining here. Imagine an ancient society engaged in producing agricultural products. This is a matriarchal society, but the queen does not make decisions or tell other members of the society what to do. All decisions are made collectively, following intensive information gathering, consultation, and dialogue, with input from all members, regardless of their age or the type of work they do. No females are unemployed. They feed and care for babies, do house cleaning, gather and prepare food, construct homes, do security patrol and civil defense. The females store food gathered for the community in common areas where it is readily available at any time for all members of the society to eat. The male members in this society don't work. They are not armed and cannot defend the community. If a male is threatened by an invader, female security guards will defend him. Unable to feed themselves, the males are hand-fed by female nurses. The males have only one function, and that is to mate with virgins from neighboring communities. But when winter comes and food supplies run short, the female security guards drive the males out of the community. Get the picture? Now you can slowly open your eyes. I have just described life in a colony of honeybees. More than 20,000 known species of bees currently live on every continent except Antarctica. These diverse species are vitally important to human economies and to the world's food supply because of their role as pollinators. The estimated global economic value of pollination services provided by bees for agriculture is well over 350 billion with a B US dollars. And that's because over a third of all the crops in the world depend on pollination, mostly by bees. Without bees, we would not have the fruits, vegetables, berries, and nuts we depend on for a healthy, balanced diet. Okay, imagine no apples, no squash, no almonds. No big deal? Okay, how about this? No hops for beer, no beans for coffee, no beans for chocolate, no grapes for wine. Well, that would be a national crisis, wouldn't it? Think about it. We humans share a special bond with bees. You see, honeybees are as sophisticated in their social behavior as we humans are. What is unique about our relationship with honeybees is not only how much we depend on their pollination services for our food, but also how much their health and survival depends on how we treat the environment, the natural environment. Sadly, 1/3 of all honeybee colonies on our planet are dying each year since the mid-2000s. This loss of honeybees and a similar decline in wild bee populations is due to an increasingly complex set of environmental disturbances caused by human activities. We are close to a tipping point beyond which bees' very survival is in doubt. The collapse of honeybee colonies is not caused by a single factor, but by a perfect storm of interacting disturbances to the natural environment that are associated with industrialized agriculture and climate change. The decimation of so many colonies of honeybees is a warning that our global food supply is also headed towards collapse. Research carried out at the University of California in Davis and Simon Fraser University here has shown that this dire situation is the result of humans controlling the natural world. To maximize profits from increased crop yields, we engage in industrial agricultural practices such as massive single crop farms, like acres and acres and acres of just almond trees, or just blueberries, or just corn, or just potatoes. And we also use toxic chemicals to rid farmland of what we see as pests and weeds. Consequently, we are threatened with looming food shortages, a direct result of interfering with the natural processes of Mother Nature. Although we have stressed bees to their breaking point, they are spirited and irrepressible. This is because they work collaboratively, and the decisions and actions of individual bees are always geared towards putting their colony first. There is much that we can learn from watching bees' behavior. Their resilience is really inspiring and gives me hope that we can learn from their example to work together to find solutions to such threats as pandemics, massive wildfires, flash floods, sea level rise, and other effects of climate change. If they can do it, we can learn how to do it too. So let's look at some of the spiritual lessons from the hive that we can adopt to improve the quality of our lives and to end food insecurity, and also to protect the bees. The first one that comes to mind of those spiritual lessons is let go and let God. I mean, we all know that one here in Unity. And we can do this by working collaboratively with nature. This means letting go of our habit of trying to control nature all the time. We see our prosperity and often our very survival as depending on our ability to control nature and exploit her creatures, her forests, waterways, and other attributes for profit. Consider for a moment huge factory farms where millions of chickens spend their lives in tiny little cages exposed to waste and excrement that comes from surrounding cages, and disease. This disrespectful treatment of these creatures creates a separation between us humans and other living creatures. And ultimately, that makes both us and them sick. But we can change the way we farm to increase crop production and create a healthier environment for bees and other pollinators, and of course other creatures as well. Commercial farmers who work with nature do not incur huge expenses to rent thousands of honeybee colonies from commercial beekeepers just to pollinate their blueberries or their almonds or whatever. Instead, they get free pollination services from wild bees when they let wildflowers, weeds, and shrubs that are native to the area grow in their fields and their orchards, thereby creating a natural habitat for wild bees and other wild pollinators, even wasps, if you can believe that. Because wild and honeybees pollinate in different patterns, they each have their own unique way of getting the pollen and nectar out of plants, flowers. When they work together, they end up making a better job of the pollination. They do a better job because they each bring something different to their pollination technique. And the result is improved crop yields and better profits for farmers. Researchers at Simon Fraser University conducted an economic analysis of canola farms in Alberta in the Peace River District from 2002 until 2012. And they found that crop production improved and profits increased from $27,000 per acre. These are profits now. Profits increased from $27,000 per acre to $65,000 per acre when 33% or 1/3 of the fields were left uncultivated, so that native wildflowers that we call weeds took over, and the use of pesticides and herbicides was dramatically reduced. This improvement was due to more effective pollination by wild bees, with some backup from a few local hives of honeybees, like the ones in our community garden. We only have 3, but they help, they work. By letting go and letting the bees provide free pollination services, the farmers experienced greater prosperity. Isn't that amazing? By giving up control and letting nature do its thing, her thing, more crops and more profit. This, I believe, is a manifestation of the spiritual principle that God is the source and creator of all things, and that when we let go and we let God through nature, we experience abundance, prosperity, and greater good. So, in your veggie gardens, instead of using pesticides and herbicides, let nature work for you. Rely on companion plantings and beneficial insects like ladybugs to keep pests to a minimum. Ladybugs will eat aphids and white flies that attack our plants and our vegetables. And companion planting is amazing. If you plant borage or borage, sometimes it's called, right next to your cucumbers, you will have far greater number of cucumbers, and your cucumber plants will grow like crazy and look like something from the day of the Triffids. When purchasing seeds and starter plants, make sure they're certified organic. These are not contaminated with neonicotinoids, pesticides, or other substances that poison bees. If you don't like the look of common weeds in your garden, no big deal. Plant alyssum. It's a ground cover, and it smells like honey. It outcompetes the weeds, and bees just love it. They'll be all over it in your garden, which means that your squash plants, your kale, your broccoli are all going to be better pollinated, and especially if you have fruit trees. My goodness, you'll have a great crop there. That happened to me this year. I got my Asian pear was pollinated by wild bees and mason bees, and it was so full of fruit that 3 big branches, at least maybe 3.5, 4 feet long, covered with fruit, just broke off. I had to take the fruit, take it out to the field, and feed it to the deer. So let go and let Mother Nature feed you. She provides us with free food and natural remedies. Ever notice how many dandelions and stinging nettles there are everywhere in spring? They're just popping up everywhere. Young dandelion leaves are not only tasty in salads, young ones, that is, not only tasty in salads, but they also support your liver and they clean your blood. Baby stinging nettles don't sting, and they are rich in vitamin C plus a host of essential minerals. We can eat them like spinach, just use them in various dishes, or we can use them to make a tea, a restorative tea. While self-isolating when I had COVID a couple of years ago, I couldn't go to the grocery store to get fresh veggies or salad greens. My craving for fresh green vegetables was satisfied by eating steamed baby stinging nettles seasoned with butter, salt, and nutmeg, and baby dandelion leaf salads harvested from the fields and roadsides in Crescent Beach near where I live. These free gifts from nature were delicious. I still do it, even though I don't have to now. I still do it. It's so yummy. Another spiritual lesson from the Hive is the oneness of all life. Bees demonstrate this spiritual principle in the way they live harmoniously in their colonies. Aside from the queen and a handful of males, called drones, the rest of the bees in a colony are female workers. In response to hormones from the queen and from each other, worker bees move through a series of jobs as they age, learning and performing each task effectively before moving on to the next one. Bees are not multitaskers. They are fully present in the moment, and they stay 100% focused on the task before them. Worker bees start their careers off as cleaning ladies, cleaning up residue that falls in the hive. Bees are very clean. They don't use their hive as a washroom, a bathroom. They go outside for that. But sometimes things come in on their wings and bits of pollen get on the ground, and the cleaning ladies look after that. After being a cleaning lady for about a week, they become nurses, and they feed the larva that, like when the egg develops into a larva, it's kind of a little wormy looking thing. The nurses feed that larva for about a week, and they also receive nectar and pollen that is brought into the hive from the foraging bees, and they store that pollen and the nectar as honey. They mix it together and they make honey out of it, and they store it for all members of the colony to eat. Next, they become construction workers. That's the next stage in their life. Construction workers, and they build the wax comb where the eggs are laid and the food is stored. At about 20 days old, they become security guards, and they defend the hive against wasps, mice, and robber bees from other colonies. And finally, as senior citizens, they spend the remaining 10 to 15 days of their lives collecting nectar and pollen from flowers to make honey to feed the colony. Although bees move through their tasks in sequence, like I've just described, they have flexibility to shift workloads in response to changing needs inside the hive and environmental challenges outside the hive. For example, when bees receive a chemical signal indicating that the colony is short of pollen, some workers will start foraging for pollen at an earlier or younger age. These bees will dance vigorously to recruit other workers to join the pollen gathering brigade. And they do this until they get the amount of pollen that's needed, and they may go back to doing the other work that they were doing before, if that's what's needed at the time. Genetic diversity enables a colony of bees to respond effectively to changes inside and outside the hive. Not every bee is the same. Some are more inclined to collect pollen than others because they are more sensitive to the chemical signals that stimulate pollen collection. Other bees might be more sensitive to nectar. Genetic diversity is essential for effective colony decision-making because it prevents the colony from reacting either too weakly or too strongly to changing conditions inside and outside the hive. The genetic diversity is possible because the queen, on her virgin flight, when she's ready to mate, will fly out, and she will mate with as many drones from neighboring communities as possible. This means she has a sperm bank from many different bees, and this means there's a lot of diversity in her offspring. So she doesn't just have bees, for example, that are sensitive to pollen but not sensitive to nectar, or bees that are sensitive or very sensitive to finding a location, or bees that are very sensitive to heat or cool. She has a collection, a colony of bees with a wide variety of diversity and skill sets that go with the diversity. Research on pollen collection done by the Simon Fraser University has found that each worker bee decides what task to perform independently of other bees. In addition, bees' decisions are decentralized. They are based on the information from each bee's local experience in the area. There is no boss in a bee colony. The queen is not the boss. She's only the egg layer. That's her job. This pollen study also showed that actions by individual bees combine to create an optimal performance of the colony, and that diversity is the result of genetic variation in the workers of the colony, just as I described it. The honeybee behavior discovered in this research at Simon Fraser is very similar to a human activity that we call crowdsourcing. In crowdsourcing, tasks are distributed amongst a large number of people, with each person contributing a small amount to a much larger endeavor. Studies have shown that crowdsourcing provides better outcomes than decisions or actions made by leaders or experts. This is because a wide variety of decision makers share their local knowledge and their experience to create a collective decision. A wide variety of decision makers prevent biased individuals from unduly influencing a decision. An example of crowdsourcing is that GoFundMe campaigns that we see quite a few of those. Perhaps the best example of human behavior mimicking the way honeybees organize work and make decisions is the town hall meeting. A town hall meeting is a democratic process for making collective decisions in response to community needs. Several diverse options are presented to the participants at the meeting, who evaluate the pros and cons of each option before making an independent decision as to which of the options or solutions is most appropriate for their community, free from the influence of special interest groups or experts. These independent decisions are then assembled and assessed by the participants at the town hall meeting, and higher level outcomes emerge from the accumulated collection of everybody's opinion. But bees seem to have greater success than humans with town hall meetings. A bee colony is an excellent expression of democratic teamwork and collaboration. We humans strive for that sense of societal integrity where the sum of our personal efforts creates a smoothly functioning result or whole. Swarming. Swarming is an example of bee democracy at work in a colony. When a number of bees are unhappy with conditions in the hive, like, for example, overcrowding, too much heat, they communicate this to their sisters through dancing. As more bees get the message, they begin to organize a revolt. Well, maybe that's a bit too strong a word. Let's just say remedial action or an escape. Scout bees go out looking for a larger location for the colony and report back to their sisters on a few alternative sites. A period of intense communication follows. Each scout bee will campaign, through dancing of course, to convince other bees to choose her preferred site. For example, you might have a bee that is sensitive to pollen. That bee will want to locate the colony to a place near where there are flowers that produce lots of pollen. Another bee might be sensitive to nectar and say, oh no, we need to be over there. The flowers over there have more nectar. You might have some bees that are sensitive to water, and they'll want to have their site chosen because it's near a stream. When roughly half the colony are convinced that a particular site is best, they will take up and take off for that new location and set up a colony there. Another example is how bees go about replacing a defective queen. Let's say the nurse bees notice that There's not a lot of honey and bee bread being taken away by the other nurse bees to feed the young. There's not enough young to feed, not enough larvae to feed. So they start dancing to each other. What's wrong with the queen? She's not laying enough eggs. Oh, did you see that? Yeah, I saw that too. There's just not, what's going on with the old bird? Is she falling down on the job? Is she getting too old? And so they do this dance, and then what happens is the construction workers start building a queen cell, which is a larger cell. The nurse bees, in addition to feeding the larva bee bread, which is a mixture of pollen and nectar, it's kind of gooey, they also feed that larva royal jelly, and that produces a new queen. And when that queen emerges from her cell as a bee, the first thing she does, she hunts down her mother and kills her. Nasty stuff. But that's how the colony survives. And it's because if they left the old queen there not laying enough, that colony would die out. So this is how nature works. Bees work so well together because of their advanced communication skills. Bees are in constant communication with each other, sharing information about conditions inside and outside the hive. This attentiveness to each other and the needs of the entire colony, I believe, is a key factor in the bees' successful teamwork. This is yet another lesson we can learn from the bees. Communication, effective, caring communication. In working with bees over the last 10 years in my community garden, what impresses me most is their collective response to stress. They reallocate work, communicate constantly, make collective decisions, and balance the needs of the individual bee against and with the needs of the colony as a whole. Bees seem to really get that we are all one. They get it on a very deep level. The collective response that we humans had to the COVID pandemic suggests that humans can apply the wisdom demonstrated by bees. Even though we didn't like many of the restrictions, the majority of us opted to act for the common good and the collective good rather than for our own personal benefits. Although none of us would have deliberately chosen a pandemic at that time, its creation had a divine purpose. At least I believe it did. It gave us an opportunity to show compassion for others and to act on a large scale for the well-being of our communities. The lessons in compassion, communication, and collaboration that we have learned from the pandemic and that we're learning right now from the devastating wildfires this season might be decisive factors in our successful response to future health and environmental challenges. Be kind. Be like a bee. And that's the buzz for today. Thank you for your kind attention.
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down the road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down the road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. My decision right here and now.
And I would like you to honor Pixie again with welcome and thank you. Yeah, it's so great. Yeah. I've been watching the bees on my balcony, and I've got 3 different kinds that come in around, but they seem to like certain ones, so I'll give them a little extra help next year. Okay, I'm doing the announcements for this week. Please join us on Mondays from 10:30 to 11:15 on Zoom or here in person in our prayer room at Unity of New Westminster for Monday meditation and prayer service. We enjoy a guided meditation and read the lives of, they are lives, names on the people on our prayer list. If you would like to have your name added to the list, or you want to add someone else's name to the list, then please fill out a prayer request slip and put it in the offering basket, and send us an email, submit a prayer request on our website or app, and we also have a prayer chest too over by the door. Please note that there will be no Wisdom Wednesday discussions, because Arona's on a vacation for a couple of weeks. Well deserved, I'm sure. This Saturday. This Saturday is the first Saturday after Labor Day. We will have a yard cleanup party. I don't think it's this Saturday, is it? Because this Saturday is before Labor Day. Maybe the next Saturday. Okay. From 10:30 to 1 a.m. Please mark your calendars and join us as we prepare our grounds for fall and winter. Now, Unity of New Westminster is completely self-funded by the contributions of our community, and we are so grateful for your gifts and support in our ministry. Many of us in our community contribute with a pre-authorized payment, which we are especially grateful for because they help us remain financially even, healthy during quieter times, such as in this summer. We ask that you give your gift of abundance from gratitude rather than a sense of obligation. So if you see the basket come along as we sing the blessing song, please give it a blessing. So we'll do that right now.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Thank you. That is so true. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for those who joined us online. Do we say a happy hello to them, or do we have that anymore? Oh, not able to do so? Oh, well, we really are happy to have you come to our service, whether it's right now or later, anyway. Thanks to you and to our tech team, our greeters, our prayer team, our platform honors, and all the and especially all the secret people who kind of go around and make sure everything's going on correctly, because a lot of times they don't get a thank you, but we know you are here. So, and thank you so much, Pixie, for your inspiring message. And good to have you again. Please join us for a coffee after service, and let's move into a circle now and join hands to sing our peace song and prayer for protection.
Let there be
let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
I am the light of God. I am the love of God. I am the power of God. I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is. I am the light of God. I am the love of God. I am the power of God. I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is. You are the light of God. You are the love of God. You are the power of God. You are the presence of God. Wherever you are, God is. You are the light of God. You are the love of God. You are the power of God. You are the presence of God. Wherever you are, God is. We are the light of God. We are the love of God. We are the power of God. We are the presence of God.